exists within all is Allah. So we thank Allah for his coming and for his breathing into man of his inspiration, thus making us into living souls, as mentioned in the Holy Quran, and eventually into quickening spirits, as written in the Bible. On that we in the Nation of Islam, who are resurrected from mental and spiritual death and elevated in the glorious light of Islam that gives us life anew, acknowledge him and thank him for coming in the person of Master Wal Istighfar Muhammad, and for his raising and sending us the glorious Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in fulfillment of the revelations of both Bible and Holy Quran, which state that Al-Mahdi and Al-Masih, the Messiah, will be present in the judgment. We thank him also for returning as promised through his spirit of inspiration, our Ruh, the Holy Spirit of truth, and Surah Muhammad the Select One, the Allah Master Jabin, by whom we stand before you this day. And we welcome all of our family to proudly keep God at the center of their efforts in whatever righteous way they have learned. In the Holy Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 62, it says, the true Jews, the true Sabians, and the true Christians will all receive their reward with their Lord. So one of the strict rules in the Black Unity Conference Universal is no spiritual gangbanging. As we know historically, spiritual gangbanging is only the tactic of El Shaitan to divide us. Once we get El Shaitan out of our ears and out of our mix, we will realize much of what we confuse as differences is only in the way of terminology. So we don't hang our what makes us different, yet embrace on what makes us the same. So let's get to the business at hand. Welcome to our weekly Buku Community Zoom business meeting. As you know, Buku stands for Black Unity Conference Universal. This is our weekly business meeting where we come together and share ideas, strategies, and steps towards actual business establishment in our communities. So today, we have the superstars of our community on the line, and we honor them for giving us their time today to share some steps that we can take to establish business for our family, community, and nation. One of the titles of our Buku team organization is the Black Family Business Network, as we understand that all of God's creation should be recognized as one family, one community, and one nation. However, as we know, the devil and El Shaitan have been busy dividing people. So the Black Family Business Network is just one of the wings under the Black Unity Conference Universal to help our people establish business, specifically on how to get a business license, bonding and insurance, how to get a seller's permit, how to incorporate our ideas, how to get copyrights and trademarks, how to get government contracts, how to manufacture and market our ideas, and how to use networking to accelerate the promotion of our ideas. So without further ado, family, let's get to business at hand.
Greetings, family, and welcome to our Buku business meeting. I am getting my camera together to perfectly be working. It's always tripping out on me, but let us begin. Today is June the 16th of 2026. A beautiful day, a beautiful time for us to come together and discuss everything that we've been working on. This month, the jewel is freedom. Freedom is defined as, I don't know if there's a definition there. 1 second, family. Let me get the definition. Freedom is defined as unhindered access to opportunities for the attainment and acquisition of information, education, training, and resources. And this is what we want to give to our people, the ability to have freedom, to be unhindered, and no interference in our access. And so we want to start with some reports. I see our brother Shabbat on the line, and also, oh no, we did have a meeting last week. We have had an event recently. We have an event coming up, and we want to also discuss and add how we can continue to contribute and work together for our upcoming Buku event. And any events that anyone has going on, please share them with us so that we can support one another. But in the meantime, we will ask Brother Shabbat if you can share with us how this week has been for you, any information on the progress that you've made in your efforts, and how all of us online can support you. We'll pass the line to Brother Shabbat. Oh, Brother Shabbat, you're muted also. if you are speaking. Brother Shabbat. Okay, we'll come back to Brother Shabbat if he isn't available right at this second. We do see answer one on the line. So answer one, if you can share with us how this week has been for you, any milestones you've been blessed to accomplish, and how we all can support you in your efforts. We'll pass the line to answer one.
Yes, ma'am. Greetings, family. We've been making some beautiful progress with the Buku Music platform. Buku Music has been growing online. So YouTube, Instagram was basically the main two spots. Facebook also. It's been making some progress. Been staying pretty consistent. Have another video prayerfully that'll be being put out either tomorrow or yeah, it should probably be ready tomorrow.
Okay.
Where we'd be able to see this next song off of the album called Love Ain't Known. And another very powerful video, a lot of compilation of a lot of the footage from a lot of the events that we went to.
Okay.
Along with that is uh, a lot of behind the scenes footage. So a lot of that footage has been always is really good. So of course, you know, along with the video, you get a lot of great behind the scenes footage, which allows for you to be able to, you know, just have a lot more content. This has been really well for us because we not only got footage for that particular song, but we also got footage for the next song. So we're really looking forward to this year of having a lot of great footage for Buku Music. I think the next step is along with the events, because we got the mixer event that we just did completed. So any other events that we do, we'll be getting those out there. Prayerfully, we'll see if we'd be able to perform this Sunday with Imani. There's a event happening out there, and we do have floors to do, so we got to work that out, see how to do that. But otherwise than that, Buku Music has been moving. As far as us, we are off from the school for right now. I'm just a sub, so they'll just be calling me in to sub to kind of help out whenever, of course, they don't have another teacher. So that gives me a little bit more time before having to go to janitorial. With that particular time, you know, we've been just looking at whatever else we can kind of get rolling. You know, got a lot of beautiful projects we want to kind of get rolling and get on this particular road that we've been doing, where we put things out consistently. We can say for my own work, the work that we're doing, we've been pretty consistent since December in putting something out weekly. I would say and because of the weekly releases, it kind of makes it easy to kind of put a little short out every day.
Yeah.
So that's been a really beautiful journey. And it's been a really fun process. You know, we really want to get it to a point where it gets monetized. And we're kind of sitting on a gold mine of just a bunch of stuff we haven't put out. You know, so that makes it easy. Don't really have to rack our brain to figure out what to put out, because we done made a bunch of stuff that can really take up the whole year. So so that's been its own journey. Prayerfully to get to a point where it's monetized. Last thing is, you know, we've been doing our best not to do too much writing, even though we love writing. But we kind
Yeah.
of couldn't help it because we just felt like we've gotten better as a songwriter. So kind of limited ourselves, made an EP that's almost complete, which is crazy.
Okay.
Probably started the EP like probably the beginning of last month. So that's pretty fun. It's gonna be something. Uh, what I've learned in it is from kind of going out and performing and being in front of people, you start to kind of understand like what people are drawn to, and it also kind of helps you understand like how better to create some of your music. So
Mm.
that's been a journey, and that's something that makes it where making some of these newer songs we did is considering that. And I think the goal for us now is, if we get that done, that could be a performance project that, whenever we go out to perform, I could perform that project because it's made for that. And then,
Yeah.
don't put out no other project and more so kind of lead people to the rest of our catalog,
Yeah.
of work that we've already done.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all of that is a beautiful journey. I think one of the biggest things right now is when you get more time, you just try to pace yourself. You
Yeah.
know, don't take that time and say, "Oh, I'm about to fill it up with all this other stuff that I want to do now."
Yeah.
Really pace that stuff out so you can get the most efficient time out of everything. But
Yeah.
that is what we've been working on, family. So with that, we'll say jealous.
Yes, sir. Jadala. Ooh, good teaching. Yeah, we've been seeing the posts online. We've been sharing those posts, and we want to get more people seeing the amazing music and also, contributing. So we got to support one another. That's something very, very important. And so uh, let us continue to get some reports. I see Brother Shabbat on the line. Brother Shabbat, if you are available now, you are muted, but if you're available, you can share with us how this week has been for you, any of the milestones you've been blessed to accomplish this week, and how all of us on the line can support you. We'll pass the line to Brother Shabbat.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam.
Well, I would
Sir.
say this week, motion's been slow, but paperwork's been busy. I've been stacked with a lot of paperwork and doing stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's been pretty much indoors right now. But I have a couple of meetings coming up with dealing with
Okay.
two different print shops to see. My nephew's one, but then the young lady I had mentioned once before, she have a very extensive shop, so I have to meet with her and see what type of deal we're going to come up with, because she capable of doing mass production and what I want, and as well as print on demand, because I'd rather go with my peoples than Printify, Shopify, no matter how good they are. If I
Yeah.
could find someone with the same abilities, lacking
Mm-hmm.
maybe one or two, I'm willing to work that and help them
Yeah.
grow to that point, as well as them
Mm-hmm.
helping me grow to that point. So that's pretty much where it's at. And this weekend, 20th, I have two different hiking events. So
Okay.
with um hip hop TV and 100 black men march, in which is they
Oh,
come together and they do a march.
yeah.
So I'm that one's in the morning. Then I have one in the afternoon to the evening at uh with Land Together Again. We supposed to go on, I think it's not Monterey, but it's uh I can't think of the name right now. It's in my phone though, but it's that one's a 3 mile hike 3.5 mile hike, which is a good thing
Wow.
because all the hikes we've been going on been like a mile and so. And it's for me, I'd rather do a long one than a short one.
Yeah,
So,
I get that.
to really get, and feel nature. And, they said we're going to have a place where we can stop at the beach. And if you want to go swimming, you can. My thing is just to take my shoes off and connect back to the earth.
Yeah.
You know, that pretty much. But I don't think I'll be swimming in water. I'm not brave enough yet because all the chemicals. What do we have to cleanse ourselves with after we get out of the water? Is the
Yeah.
thing, There's
Mhm.
not a shower around until you get home, and all the while, all that stuff is soaking into your skin and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm more likely I'm gonna hold off on that. I might wave in it up to middle of my calf or something, but other than that, I really can't see doing too much in that water just yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Other than that, just constantly pushing and looking forward to our next event and these other events that we have coming up.
Yes.
You know, because when the young man said thank you,
Oh,
so
good.
yes, I told him I said we have another one coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be in, let me know. He said yes. If she gonna put me in, I'm willing to have a space there. I said okay.
Good.
We have a quite. I say you don't have to just bring one or two pieces for sale. Can bring more than that because he have
Yeah.
quite a collection itself.
Okay.
And because of the things he's been through, that 150 helped him so much because right now he's on disability and SSI because he had he was paralyzed for a while. He just starting to come back.
Oh,
Yeah, you
wow.
had got
Okay.
shot a couple times. I was a young man that got shot at the lake a while
Oh,
back.
really?
So yeah, so he's been fighting that, getting his body going. So I
Mm-hmm.
told him, well, what we could do, I help you in any way, but you need to literally start pushing your work. But
Yeah.
he's sitting down too much on his stuff. He's doing what I was doing, but I was inside at the time,
Mm.
and I'm like, there's so much more you could do with your work.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he take heed to that and do what he need to do to move forward.
Yeah.
But he appreciate the 150 and everything. And he said he looked forward to it. I said, okay,
Okay.
when
Thank
you
you.
get ready, you could start joining the meetings and stuff like that. Whenever you're ready, I'm not
Yeah.
going to rush you or
Yeah.
anything. Just you'll see what the family mean, what we do for each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not a one-time thing. If you're going to
Yeah.
come in and be serious about pushing yourself and helping the peoples, that's what we're about.
That's what we're about.
But for the most part, I'm gonna stop right there for now and give you Mike back.
Yes. Thank you, Brother Shabbat. That is excellent. And we are actually, so just so everyone can start thinking about what you want to do for the September event, we are actually talking to the East Oakland Youth Development Center about hosting the event there. It looks like that's the most viable option. So we'll be able to have the multiple rooms for workshops, give everyone, we're floating around how long these workshops can be, but if we give everyone time for maybe like 90 minutes to host a workshop or an activity or whatever you want to do for that day, those are the things that we're discussing for the run of the show for the day. And we're hoping to have the use of the location for a full day. So it'll be more like a convention or a festival or something like that, but a day full of workshops, vendors, musical performances, and really coming together to support one another. So East Oakland Youth Development Center is where we're looking at. Prayerfully this week we can solidify that location.
Where's it located?
It is located, okay, so it's in East Oakland. It's in the 40 by 40 area. It's on International and something. let me see. I can show you guys. I'll show you guys how it looks. Okay, it's on International and 82nd. And it's a beautiful location. Okay, you all see it?
No, there you go.
So this is the full location.
You said it's 52nd,
82nd. International
82nd?
and 82nd. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I literally just passed by there the other day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful location. And it's a beautiful location. And yeah, so once we get this solidified, we would love for everyone to begin thinking about how what you want to bring to the table at this location and how you would like to participate. That's what the vendor mixer was about. But now we have a potential location in mind. So everyone can start thinking about those things, how you want to be involved, what type of workshop you would like to host or activity, and making it something that, you know, we can really invite the community to, and that you can also use to point people back to the program that you run throughout the year. You know, we really want everyone to benefit greatly from this event.
I kind of pretty much already know which one I'm thinking about going with.
Okay.
More likely to be a combination of two. With the entrepreneurship, you know, and the question of success, you know, about art blind where teaching with the art and everything and showing them the young folks and young adults how to utilize their skills that they've been blessed with to create their own business. And then that way we could give them input on coming to one of the grant meetings and stuff like that, and we can set up days with them where they can start working on getting a business license and all of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So just go like that.
Yep. Excellent. That's excellent. Okay, thank you, Brother Shabbat. I know we got more of our family on the line, so let's continue. Prayerfully, more of our family will get on, but we're going to hear these reports and then look at some clips that can spark some discussion so that we can further discuss this jewel of freedom. However, we see Sister Francine on the line. Sister Francine, if you can share with us how this week has been and any updates you have on the progress and the work that you've been doing. This week's jewel is freedom, and freedom is defined as unhindered access to opportunities for the attainment and acquisition of information, education, training, and resources. And so we want to frame, how we're speaking in regards to the work that we're doing and how it, whatever we're doing, fulfills this jewel of freedom. Either we are giving access to something to our community, we are teaching people how to attain that access, and we are training them, educating them, and giving them resources. And those things are important. And so we will pass the line to Sister Francine to share with us your report.
Okay. I'm in a cab right now, so I hope you can hear me okay.
Okay.
I went to the Rekeefe. I got a last minute ticket for the Rekeefe Wellness. So I went there I caught a half a day on Friday and then I think I did half a day again on Sunday. So I caught Joy DeGruy's talk and second day, but they say they record and then it'll be available later, but I've experienced over the years they always say that and they never give up the recording, so that's unfortunate. And I missed the first speaker's share in the morning on Friday, that her talk was kind of like elemental about nature and stuff like that, so I'm sorry I missed that one. I did pick up some information about farming collective for BIPOC people up in the Sacramento area. It was started by a mother. I guess she was on a low income or getting help from the state, and she said that she got together with some other mothers who were had difficulty struggling every month, and she said, why don't so I think she started with, why don't we grow some food, we grow on food, and then it went from there, where she said, why don't we get some land, there's grants and stuff for land, and we could, but they're not interested in sharecropping. She said that has its own like set of problems unto itself. So that's how she started, and she has a a collective, a farm or something. I don't know if she owns her own personal. I'm not sure about that, but I got the information. I'll send it to you for Brother Shabbat.
Okay.
So she said the guy that talked about the collective, and they have attorneys, and Black Farm Collective and stuff like that. She said that she could get in touch with that individual, that they're also up in Sacramento. I thought they were coming from a different state, but they're up in Sacramento. So there wasn't too much else to report on. I mean, they had some massage there that day. I never did get a massage. Somebody was supposed to come and get me in the speaker's room, but it didn't happen, so I decided not to hang around for it. And I made a couple of connections. I made a connection with a group of midwives and doulas were advertising.
Okay.
And one lady was interested in the cranial, so I said, you can contact this lady or me. I can send you information, but and I told them it's worth it to talk to her, just like to get an interview, get an application or whatever if they really are interested. She has scholarship funds, and then there was another lady that was interesting. She was talking about alopecia. She was from some group that was associated with helping people that are experiencing hair loss.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I'm still trying to manage with this case stuff that I thought the one attorney was going to take both my cases, but they wrote me back and said he wasn't. So that was like weird science. And then the Korean attorney was ranting and raving, so I haven't talked to him much. He's just but I did, I was praying about it, and I thought, what did I do in the past that could have worked that didn't work?
Yeah.
And the national NAACP is has a local office, a branch downtown Oakland, and sometimes their attorneys, help people, represent people or whatever. But that was going to take too long. I had to do a membership, then pay for a membership, and then I think the lowest membership was like $30 a month. And then she said you can fill out a form or something to request their help with something, but it may not come, like right away. It could be 2 or 3 weeks or so when they get back to you. So she clued me in on apparently Asian attorneys are giving our people a pretty hard time in my county. So she used some word. I guess she didn't want to be, caught saying something that was. She didn't say anything that was racist. She said that they've been trifling or something like that. Some word she used to. And I said, does that mean, they're giving our people a hard time? And she didn't try to explain anymore. She just used the same word. So that's what I figured, that was a hint that something is going on with the legal Asian population on Black people, So I'm having my own experience, which I told her. And she said that then she referred me to a retired president of their branch. And he picked up the phone right away. I was surprised. He gave me his cell phone number, and he basically set me on a path of, all those lies that my attorney was telling. He said, no, attorney is supposed to just take a document and file it for you. They're not supposed to have no judgment or opinion about it. Like you're because he was telling me stuff like, "Oh, it's unethical," and I said, "So why it's unethical?" He said, "Because your letter from your doctor is bogus." I said, "So my disability, my treatment with my doctor, all of that is bogus." And he just kept going on. He was just trying to scaremonger me. So I just, you know, I stayed calm because I didn't want him to say, I yelled or swore at him or something like that to try to give him an easy off. So
Yeah.
the ACP retired attorney said, "Look," he said, "he's your attorney of record, period. If he doesn't show up, that's his problem. That'll be on him with the judge if he doesn't show up."
Mhm.
So, and then, so I went down to the courthouse to try to file papers to do a motion for continuation. That him by an email, and the fact that he didn't use them is that he said, "Yeah."
Oh, we couldn't hear you that well. Yes.
Oh, all right, better now?
Yes, we can hear you. If you can just, we'll give you
Yeah, so
a minute to wrap it up so we can get to the other reports.
Yeah, to wrap it up. So, in terms of resources, actually the Oakland Law Library was very helpful, and they gave me a packet with instructions on how to fill a form out for a continuance. Except it's so close to the date, I'm gonna have to go into court, and the supervisor at the clerk said, "Just ask the judge for continuance." And when I get there, so I was not wanting to do that, and I'm gonna try to get a friend to see if she can show up. I think Wednesday is the day off. I'd rather not show up by myself.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm not really doing anything else right now. I just, I don't have any case studies or anything like that set up. I'll have to do that in the future, but right now it's too much going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the Buku event is coming up in September, so we definitely want you involved in some way. If you want to host a workshop or an activity, if you can just think about that and how you would want to do that, and we can talk about that more in the future, but just so that it's on your mind that you have that open invitation.
So what was the school that you said that, or you said you guys were getting close to maybe get it?
I can't understand what you said. Can you say it one more time?
I said,
what was that location you were talking about? When I came in, I didn't see the picture. You've already,
Yes.
You think you might have a location?
Yes, we are finalizing prayerfully this week, East Oakland Youth Development Center. And that location is the location that we're praying that we host the event at. And so we'll have space for everyone to, host a workshop.
Could you put that in the chat? Because I'm having a little challenge hearing. So you want us to do flyers?
No, not yet. No, not yet. But
Not yet?
once we move forward with getting the location, we'll talk about how everyone can help with promotion.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And I'm going to try my ion water maker today. It just arrived today, so I'm going to learn how to do ion water.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, that is
next
excellent.
week. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Sis Francine.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, let's get some more reports. That is excellent. I see our beautiful sister Princess on the line. Princess, if you can share with us how this week has been for you. I know that you are doing such amazing work. I've been looking at the videos of the workshop that you're doing with the young women in our community for sewing. And that's absolutely amazing. And I see in the chat you put your free community healing event hosted by your nonprofit SNE Cares and CJ Spears. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about that event, I'm going to download that so we can share it on our Buku page as well. And also anything else that you have going on and how we can support you in your efforts. We'll pass Princess the line.
Hello, family. I'm doing great. I'm having a great week. I don't know. I've been on this sober journey for the past 2 weeks, and I feel like going sober was the best decision I could have made. I was forced into it because they told me I have fatty liver disease, but
I'm
so happy I'm here because I have been palpable. I did not know how powerful I genuinely was. Like, I've just been
Yeah.
running away low key, but now that I'm not there no more and I'm able to get all this stuff done, I just feel amazing and just thankful and grateful that I'm still here. But outside of
Yeah.
me, sewing classes have been going amazing, so good. They love it, and I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
because they mentioned that, oh, they don't listen, they won't sit down, but they don't do that with us. I'm like, they sew with
Yeah.
us. I don't know what y'all in, but they be working with me. So we're almost done with our dolls, and then next week I think we're gonna start on building flowers or something else. I'm not too sure yet, but I let them pick what they want to work on. Outside of the sewing classes, as you mentioned, we do have our free community healing bit coming up on July 12th, where we'll be doing some restorative yoga and journaling practices with CJ Spears. She'll be leading that. And then we'll also have a community sound bowl session with Elise. She'll do that for us. And then Eli is going to be hosting a cooking demo for the first 10 participants, as well as making food for the rest of everyone who's going to be there. And then I'll be doing the herbal station, so teaching people how to make their own perfumes, how to make bug spray, and then also terrariums. I love plants. I have a plant business as well. So that's what I'll be doing. And then my mom will also be helping us with the herbal stations as she's learning right now. And I'm like, I think that's it for now. If y'all do know any connections to where we may be able to get like free produce to give out at that event, that would be awesome.
Okay.
That's like cherry on the top if we can add that, but it's not necessary, but I would love to be able to give people when they leave as well.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we're really just like working on grants and trying to figure out how to get more money to keep doing what we're doing.
Mhm. I understand that. We're
Yes.
in the same boat. That's amazing. I love what you're doing. I see those videos. I don't like when people like preempt. You know, the children are so bad, they won't. But when you get in there, you realize that our children are so multifaceted. One, they're not one-dimensional, but also they love when someone focuses on them. When someone pays
Yes.
attention to them, a lot of times they're not the priority. So they just have to entertain themselves. But this program centers the youth, and they can benefit from that, and they love learning, especially when it's
They
fun.
love learning. They love
learning.
it.
It's amazing. So I love everything that you're doing. We definitely want to support as well. So 144,000 does do a food drive. And so I can speak to her about the produce. When I was there, they had corn, onions, they have a bunch of stuff, bell peppers, cauliflower, whole heads of cauliflower. They have a bunch of stuff. So I will reach out to her and see if I can connect you guys, so then you can have some of that produce there at the event, because that'll be
Please,
amazing.
how often do they do that? Because I don't have no job. I'm like, my job is the work that I do, and I'm writing grants to get us all paid. So I'm like, I need food. I'm like, where can I start? I need to start going to the house.
Honestly, and we need more Black people in that line at their food drive. They do it twice a week. I'm gonna get her flyer. They do it twice a week. And it's just a bunch of people in the line. They have a bunch of food. They actually give out a lot. They give out they let people come in with full baskets, and they can just fill up their basket with as many bags as they want to. They have eggs, chicken, ground chicken. They have cereal. They have everything.
I need a link.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna send you their information. It's actually at where we were at on that Sunday. That's where they do the food drive from. So I'll send you the days. I think it is Saturday and Wednesday, I believe. But I'm gonna double check, and then I'll send you her information.
Perfect. Thank you. Tomorrow, Wednesday, so I'm gonna follow up.
Okay, definitely. Oh, can you put your number in chat? I don't think I have your number.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Princess. We're definitely the program, what you have going on July 12th sounds very, very good. I think Buku would want to have like a booth or something there, some type of information, someone there, so that we can not only support but represent, this community collaborative that we have here, because that's what Buku is. We unify the unifiers, and the work that you're doing is very, very, very important, and we want to make sure that we support. So we're going to share and see how Buku can also get involved in more with what you all are doing. Thank you. And yes, I just love that so much. And you being young, we want more youth involved in Buku. And so we're looking for, getting more youth, to work with us. And, we want to advertise to the youth specifically. So let us continue. 29 is young, girl. 29 is a baby. But no, 29 is well into adulthood, frontal lobe fully developed. So definitely. All right, so let us continue. I'm so excited about that. All right, let's continue. I see our brother Answer Demise on the line. Answer Demise, if you can share with us how this week has been for you, the work that you've been blessed to do, any milestones you've been blessed to accomplish, and as well how we all can support you. Also, I keep forgetting to say the jewel of this month is freedom. So freedom is defined as unhindered access to opportunities for the attainment and acquisition of information, education, training, and resources. So like what Princess is doing, giving access to our children, that's the one thing that being in the Hills and Wilderness of North America has disconnected us from its access. And the government has used a hindrance to these resources against us for generations. And so we want to make sure that we give access to our people to everything that they need in order to be successful, to survive, to be unhindered in their life completely. And so we're going to continue the discussion on the jewel of freedom specifically. But in the meantime, we'll go to Answer Demise. You can share with us your report, and we'll pass the line to Answer Demise.
John, who I gotta keep it real brief. I'm at work, but I got the brothers on the other phone. They can hear the meeting. I couldn't figure out how to come in audio so that I can be linked, but they are able to listen for right now.
Okay, I have to send you the phone number to call in. I'll send that to you.
Yeah, sister. Yes, sister. So, yeah. So basically, we waiting. You know, as far as that go, we still on a waiting game. But our time should be really short, matter of days, as far as waiting for that reply from the government to say yes on the uniforms, and then we can move forward as far as it go. One, I don't know if the brother tried to call you or not. He might have tried to call. I know when you're on the Zoom, you don't see the phone ringing like that. I forgot to try to explain to him that, you know, when you're on the Zoom, you don't necessarily see that phone ring like that. But that's as far as just waiting on the business situation go. As far as this week go, I tried to invite this brother, brother Quincy, to get him on. He the brother that do work with the homeless and help. He actually helps people get money. The job that he does. So if you need a spot, they'll give you like a deposit, and they'll give you a deposit, and then like I don't know if they match your first month's rent or whatever it is they do, but they do like a part of that. And I was trying to get him on, and it's really like on my fault because I sent it to him late. So you know, I meant that I was busy, so I didn't get to see it until now. But I sent it to him, so maybe next week he'll get on, or if he gets time this week. But we definitely want to get the brother on. He a youngster too, doing this job. He like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's 20 something to, he can't be no older than 30 something. So he not know, you know what I mean? He's not like OG out here doing the job that he do. So what it shows me is that our people have a compassion for working, you know, with our so-called less fortunate family that's out here dealing with stuff. Because being homeless isn't who you are, it's just a time and a position where you are at right now. Some people really out there, and it's a lot of mental going on with our people who are struggling to keep their mindset above water so that they could just be active in society. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean that they're not worth or worthy of assistance and help from the people. You know, so we want to make sure, as the sister says, she want to give out produce. That's big for the mindset of that type of development to say, you know, we out here helping our people, you know, for to say, oh, I'm 29 and we really respect the fact that you grown, you know what I mean? You grown. But we also respect the fact that, you know, a lot of our people at that age, not even making sense on the thoughts of what they're trying to do on a daily basis, let alone put together a business or try to put together a corporation or try to put together a healing situation to help your people throughout a sickness that we're dealing with. And a lot of us are sick. And then forget about the physical sick, the cold, the kidneys, the liver, you know what I'm saying, the spleens, all that kind of stuff. The mental sickness is really what we got a big dish. We got to deal with that as far as being a big deal in our community. And so that mental sickness isn't been given enough resources. Because when you go to a hospital, they send you to a specialist for certain things. You know, they don't just send you, they send you to an in general doctor, that triage. Oh yeah, you sick. All right, let's get you to see what's really, really wrong with you. Then they start doing tests on you. Whether it's your brain, let's see, oh, it's not the brain. All right, it's the heart, it's not the heart. Oh, it's the stomach, it's not the stomach. Oh, okay, we got a blood problem. So it's the same thing on a spiritual level that we need to be dealing with. You know, that particular mindset of trying to help our people. Some of our people just need love. If you was to just give some of our people just a little bit of love, as who was that was just stating and saying that if you just show them some time, give them a little bit of attention, that's really the love aspect. And sometimes it has to be a hard love, because some of our brothers ain't really listening and they need that hard love. You know, you don't need to spank them, but at the same time, they need somebody to really show them that no means this, and it don't mean that don't nobody not love you. It just means that at the moment and at the particular time where you are right now, that's not the move. You know, so we really real concerned with that part, and feeling that we got brothers with us that's on the other side of the university walls. We want to make sure that all these messages are really universal message. So it's not like because you there that this message isn't you. And the message that we got for the brothers out here is the same message we got for the brothers in there. We're trying to connect you to a spiritual understanding, at the same time to connect you to a mental understanding, at the same time trying to make sure that your physical is doing good. Don't just be sitting around lazy and sloppy. Take care of yourself. You know, that don't mean you got to lift 1,000 pounds. It just means that you got to be able to take care of yourself. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Stick to what's right, you know, and try to avoid what's wrong. We know, you know, it's not always possible, but at some point we really try to avoid that. As soldiers, sometimes we try to knock down what's in front of us that's wrong. That's cool, but at the same time, that's why they got camouflage, meaning the fact that you just got to be on the under sometimes, real hidden, and let fools go by. The enemy can't see what you're doing because you camouflage. You know, so it ain't always all about attack mode, attack mode, attack mode. Sometimes it's relax mode and chill mode, learn mode. So, you know, that's pretty much where we are right now. And we appreciate the moment to be able to speak to the family. Sajalahu.
Yes, Sajalahu. Good teaching. That is exactly right. That's excellent. Thank you, Answer Demise. And okay, so you said that because you guys are waiting on the badging from the state of California for the security company. So prayerfully that occurs sooner than later, because, you know, we want to ask East Oakland Youth Development Center if we can suggest a security company that will be securing the facility. And if Essence Security is fully licensed at that time, we would love to use, you know, our partnering organization. So preferably the state stops dragging their feet. I'm gonna try to call Sister Yandi this week, and then we can, you know, see what we can do to further ask them to expedite. But of course, we know that they aren't responding. But at least we'll have on paper that we've done everything that we can to ask them to pick up and move a little quicker in licensing the company when it's ready to be licensed and it has potential work available.
Yeah, one last thing that we say, Sister, by then, we should be either standing outside their office every day with a tent and a campfire.
Right.
You know, think about it, by August, they only got to the end of this month to tell us. They have 30 days, and we started at the beginning. We sent that in, I think, around the 1st. So they only had 30 days. I think it's three weeks of working days, and that's what we have to keep up in mind. So it's 21 days to respond. So they did respond last time and tell us that we didn't add the "and." You guys didn't put "and" on the badge, and that's on us though. You know what I mean? We're not gonna be like, oh man, they dogged us out, they treated us bad, man, they some suckers. No, that's on us. We made a mistake. We'll deal with that part. We clearly understand that we did make a mistake. Although they could have got back at us, they didn't have to wait till 21 days to get back at us to tell us that no, that's not right. But that's how the devil operates. So we know how they operate. And if you know how somebody is and you still expect something different, then whose fault is that? You know,
Right.
so we working with this devil. We know how this devil is. That's why we got to cross our T's and dot our I's at all times.
Correct.
You know, lock our doors, tie our camels. That's why we got all these statements on caution and precaution, because we know
Right.
for a fact that they're just waiting to see us slipping. You know,
Mhm.
they want to see a real cat slipping. When you see a real cat slipping, real cats try to help you. You see what I'm saying? When a real person is slipping, real other people try to help you. Like, hold on, sister, no, don't do that. Hold on, brother, man. Whoa, I see. But haters, they see you slipping and they wait. They don't try to help you. They wait to see your whole, as we as youngsters used to say, they wait to see your whole drawers torn before they say something so that your whole embarrassment can be shown. They don't try to be like, oh, you know, hold on. They don't do that. That's not a hater's job. And if you expect a
Right.
hater not to do a hater's job, then you really can't be a real cat, because real cats know what we up against. You know what I'm saying? Real people know what we dealing with. And so if you know your enemy is a real one, then you got to be that much more of a real one too. And don't cry about, you know, all the little nicks and knacks that the real ones do to you. Just keep yourself real and handle your business, because that's what they're supposed to do. You can't be the best champion fighting all the scrubs. You're going to be the best champion when you knock out Mike Tyson, not when you knock out Glass Joe. What is it? Glass Joe. When you knock out Glass Joe, he the first fool on the game. He the first victim. You can't get past the first victim, you sure not going to get to none of the rest. But yeah, to John LaHoo.
Yes, sir. Jalou. Yep, good teaching. Good teaching. We're learning. We're continuing to learn, and the experience you all have in beginning the work of getting the paperwork for the security company, going through the full process, is going to benefit other members of our community who want to do the same thing. And so that's valuable experience. You can't really you can't skip that experience part. So thank you, Answer Demise. Okay, and we see Answer Africa on the line. Answer Africa, if you are available, if you can share with us how this week has been for you, your input on the Jewel of Freedom, which of course, let me read it again, is defined as unhindered access to opportunities for the attainment and acquisition of information, education, training, and resources. So if you give your input on that, and as well how it feeds into the work that you do in the community every day, and how all of us can support you in those efforts, we'll pass the line to Answer Africa. Oh, there she
Hey,
Hey.
peoples. Let's see. We out
You
here.
out. We
The
see you.
community. We doing massage therapy. I just had a
Okay.
client, so I couldn't talk to y'all right then and there. It's so
Okay.
amazing coming out here. I got another client coming. Supposed to be gone already, but we got one more loved one who wants to get worked on. I can't let her leave without working on the sister,
Yeah.
because then I'd be in trouble, y'all. So we are out here at the plaza, 60th and Adeline. Dr. Francine, she just split like a few minutes ago, but she was out here
Okay.
too. And okay, because it's hot. It's hot out here, and it's a tree that drops leaves on me. So we are so grateful to be here. I heard everything that the brother said. We have another brother that was listening here that was also very intrigued by our meetings. So I'm working on making sure that brothers and sisters, maybe even we might have to do a broadcast here where folks can
Absolutely.
listen, all that,
Yeah.
and they can listen and get a whiff of what's happening online on Zoom.
Mhm.
Because everything we're talking about is everything we work on here at the plaza. Hold on one second. So yeah, I just wanted to say hi to y'all really quickly. I
Yes.
gotta get back into it. Yeah, I could get on a little bit after 4, but while I'm on this time, I'm like rocking and rolling. Yeah, we got people back to back to back. So
That's excellent.
overdue.
Yeah, that's what you want. Service in the community is extremely important. So you have to do that.
Careful on the Just Touch team. And then I'm gonna show y'all the little sign.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All right, we
appreciate
see
y'all.
it.
All right.
Yes,
Yes, I
ma'am.
appreciate
Thank you.
y'all so much. I'll be on a little later.
Okay.
Okay, peace.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank you,
y'all.
peace, and Africa.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Getting that good old massage.
Yay. And she knows. Look, she knows. They came all the way from Air.
Wow. Yeah, that is excellent. Well, I got my massage during the vendor mixer. It was amazing. So we know that those healing hands actually very beneficial for the community. Very excellent. All right, so let us continue. I think that's all the reports from everyone on the line. We want to now go into our discussion on the Jewel of Freedom. Freedom, again, is defined as the unhindered access to opportunities for the attainment and acquisition of information, education, training, and resources. And last month, our jewel was freedom. And so speaking about freedom, and then, this month is freedom. Last week was knowledge and then wisdom. And so speaking about having the knowledge and the wisdom to even seek out the resources and the training and the education that you need is something that's very important. And we know that our community was stripped of all of these things. And so we want to talk about how we can ensure that we can aid our community in easier being able to attain each of these 12 jewels. The 12 jewels are important in order for us to open the minds of our people and with our unity. For example, on this line itself, we have multiple organizations, multiple unifiers who are here, ready, willing, and actually in the community doing the work of unifying our community, educating our youth. And this is very important. It's essential for the advancement of the Black community. And so how can we ensure that our community has unhindered access to opportunities? What hinders our access to opportunities and to information and to training? What hinders our access to these things? That is something that we have to ponder, we have to think about, because once we have that knowledge, we know exactly what to target. And so we're going to pull up some clips that I see answer one with his hand up. So we're going to pass the line to answer one.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We was just gonna say Iman was on the line until she didn't.
Oh,
So.
yes, Iman is actually at work, so she's just listening in. But she does, let's see, let me pull up Iman's. Iman has a program going on. And let us talk about that. It's online. Let me pull it up. All right. Iman has a Plan Your Next Escape program she is running, and she's going to be doing this online. You can book her. Of course, she does the travel agency, which is amazing, but Iman is also multifaceted. Like many of us on the line here, she's an esthetician. She's a unifier in our community. She is experienced with security. She is part of Team Hanif. We know Team Hanif is a family. Like all of us, they all work in the community. So she works with Watch Me Grow, and she does this work very well. And so she's doing an online program where she's promoting her travel agency business. And it's more than just travel. She's helping people plan an experience. And so we're going to share the link to the work that she does in the chat so that everyone can support our beautiful sister Iman. Iman of Team Hanif. And we know Team Hanif, that's Iman and Jamila, Fatima, and Iman. And they are all dear to our hearts. And so we pray that everyone supports her in what she does. Follow her online. And she's always here. Unfortunately, she's at work, but I know that she's on most of the time, so she'll be able to speak with us maybe next week. All right. So let us get into some of the clips that we have. There's, of course, a host of things going on in the world. We know that the Carmelo Anthony case happened recently. He was found guilty of first-degree murder, actually, and it's something that's very upsetting. the entire case is upsetting. But the fact that he was charged with first-degree murder, convicted of first-degree murder, is extremely alarming. But also the response from the members of this country is something even more telling. The fact that his jury had 0 Black people on the jury, which means it's not a jury of his peers. There were no one who looked like him on the jury. And even up until the last second, the last round of prosecution and defense being able to remove jury members, there were 3 Black women, and these 3 Black women were teachers. And the prosecution claimed that because they're teachers, they wouldn't be able to impartially judge Carmelo Anthony because the crime that was committed happened on school grounds. And the judge actually agreed with that and dismissed the final Black jurors from the jury. And that makes no sense whatsoever. And we know that makes no sense. But of course, they have the shield of the law to make it seem like that is reasonable. Carmelo Anthony was convicted of first-degree murder. First-degree murder means that the jury believes he went to the track meet intending to kill the young man, Austin Metcalf, which means that he premeditated this murder. And I didn't upset and raise my blood pressure by watching that trial, but from everything that I've seen, there is no evidence that he premeditated that murder. The only thing that they can show is that he took a knife to the track meet, which means that for them, that means that he premeditated murdering this person or murdering someone. And the jury agreed with that and convicted him of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 35 years in prison. And so that in itself is a case that's very upsetting. We know that that is juxtaposed to the case of Cyrus, who in North Carolina was chased down and killed by a store owner who happened to be Asian, who chased him down with a gun and shot and killed him. It was revealed that Cyrus did have a gun on him that fell out of his backpack as he was running. The jury believed that he pointed the gun at Rick Chow and Rick Chow's son, and so that justified Rick Chow shooting and killing him. And thus, Rick Chow was acquitted of all charges relating to the death of this 14-year-old child. And so we have 2 cases that recently occurred that affect our community deeply, which we understand could affect our community deeply. We understand that there are a lot of people who are responding to both of these cases. Those responses in themselves are alarming. However, we want to talk about these systems that are in place, how these systems are used to deny us not only access, but deny us justice, deny us an ability to fight for ourselves. And what can we do about those things? I know that we have to establish our own nation. That's a big thing in the Nation of Islam. We have our own nation. We need our own justice system. We need our own way to hold our community accountable. And we definitely have to separate from the people who we can identify as openly being our enemy, which means that they are not hiding the fact that they hate us. And this is becoming more and more prevalent when we can see them on social media literally saying that they hate Black people. They have fought for the right to openly express their hatred for Black people. And this is something that is occurring everywhere. In Belfast, Ireland right now, white Irish people are attacking Black immigrants in mass anywhere they see them because one Black immigrant committed a horrific crime. And so now they are attacking all Black immigrants, their businesses, they're going home to home. And so this is more proof to us, to our community, that it's not just America. It is literally anywhere we find darker people of the planet, and we are being abused, oppressed, and mistreated. And so how do we give our community freedom, justice, and equality? How can we ensure that our community can thrive without having to be under the foot of people who clearly do not like us and do not hate us? Another thing that's important to note is that Rick Chow's business has not been burnt down. Asian businesses in our community have not been burnt down. Asian people in our community are not being attacked en masse by our community because of these cases. However, there was a cross burning in Chicago. The suspect in this cross being set up and burnt in a majority Black neighborhood is an Asian man, which is also weird because one, what do you even know about that? And two, why would you do that? So there's a lot of things that we have to discuss about how we will unify, how we will come together, and what we can do to not only protect our community, but protect our youth, protect our women, and ensure that, you know, we don't have to be a hindrance to anyone, but we can come together and unify. And it's something that is that we have to do, and we have to do it quickly, because unfortunately we live here in the belly of the beast, the United States of America. For any of our family that live in these other European countries, but also even if you're in Africa, the Europeans and the Arabs and the Chinese have made a concerted effort to focus on Africa and African countries to rape Africa of its resources. And so how can we, across the diaspora, help our community? There are places in Jamaica where Jamaican people cannot go to the beach because Europe owns the beach, which also makes no sense. So we can see that there is an attack on our community worldwide, globally, and doing the work of unifying the unifiers, we can combat these negative things that affect our community on the daily. And we have to educate our youth because, you know, I don't know what Cyrus was doing or Carmelo Anthony, but there is a way that we can teach our young men, especially how to control themselves, how to properly respond to the aggression of people who can literally take your life and get away with it, who will try to incite you and provoke you and then turn around and play the victim. We have to train our youth in how to respond to that, how to get out of those situations, but also how to not have fear. And so I am looking for the clip that I had up, but while I get that clip open, I will open the floor for any input from everyone on the line in regards to this freedom, this access, unhindered access to the freedom to attain the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding that we need, the information, the training, and the resources for us to unify and exit out of this country.
The city was trying its hardest not to give up. There is even a massive seawall project meant to hold the ocean back.
Okay, I
But
see
experts
Brother
say
Shabbat.
rather
Yes, I will say
the city is drowning.
that until we do exit out the country, we need to accumulate something here first to secure our families. You know, and begin with is land. I know I could sound like a broken record about it, but without land, without space, without ownership, the American government see you as nothing because you own nothing. We have to get out of the fact that we are young folks as well as young adults and elders.
Brother Shabbat.
He's fading out, but it's some kind of video or something playing in the background.
That means
Brother Shabbat.
relocate.
Okay.
Do you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. What I was saying is about owning property, because if we can own property, we can have our own foundation, because the American government, ever since she put on her skirt, she's been for sale, and they call that ownership. When you have land, you have a stake in the government, even if you're not part of the government, because your land give you strength. That's just how they have been since, like I say, since she put on her skirt. Now, until we come together and focus on that, instead of allowing our young peoples, young adults, and those in their 40s and 50s that believe they grown, and those that are grown in their 60s and 70s with no stability of knowledge and understanding,
Right.
till we realize that we have to own land. We have to come together and quit spending our money on things that depreciate in value, like a car every time you turn around. Yes, we need cars, but
Right.
every year you want to upgrade a new car. You don't have to upgrade.
Right.
You got billionaires like Warren Buffett. He's been driving the same car for over 30 some years. His business partners, billionaires, ask him why won't he go and get a new car? He don't have a big mansion. And they say, why won't you get a mansion instead of staying in that little house? He said, because my car and my house suffice me for what I need. What I need all of that for, all those rooms or a new car, was just another bill. You constantly giving out to others instead of giving to yourself. Pay yourself first. If it ain't nothing but $1 out of every check, put some to the side. Pay yourself first. I'm not saying grab a $1,000 or $500 or even $100 and put up every check. Put $5 in a jar.
Yeah.
You know, because during slavery and after slavery, we had grandparents, mainly the mother. She would throw 50 cents. If she had change, she would throw 50 cents in the jar. Yes, it took her 20, 30 years to get a few $1,000s. But when that time came and it was needed, she helped send her grandbabies to college. We're in a different time. The money seems to be a little more valuable than it was back then. But if you look at it, it's still the same. Inflation is going up and the currency is losing its value. So until we focus on getting something that's tangible to us, we're going to be in the same place over and over again. Because say a car is bound to break down. Yes, you're going to have a problem with your house, water, electricity, different things like that. But you have a secure roof over your head.
Right.
Yes, you can sleep in your car. You can even eat in your car. Some people even cook on their engine. But it's just secured. This is the thing, I'm not taking none away from anyone that want that Beamer, that Mercedes, or that Cadillac, or whatever it is you want. But when you leave, what you leaving your kids? A car that broke down?
Right.
There's nothing there. You go and spend $6,000-$7,000 on clothes that you only gonna wear for the first year that you have them. Then now they gone because they got too small, or they toe up. They got a hole here and there. And instead of you donating to someone, you throw them away.
Yeah.
You reselling them, you throw them away. And once you have these Pisces and Hispanics, young ladies, they have all this donated clothes and they sell it out in front of their house, or go down the street and set up a little booth and sell what you threw away.
Mm-hmm.
And this mentality that we have, that we want to compete against other people's and ourselves and one another instead of growing with one another. And I'm going to mention something I mentioned once before about the land. Okay, instead of attempting to get 20, 30 acres by yourself, they're laying out there for $200-$300 an acre. Now, say 10 of us come together and come up with $1,000. How many acres can we get, and what we could utilize with it? One acre, we could put our house or whatever we want on it, and put a portion of our property, say a quarter of it, into the middle with everyone else. And now we have open marketplace where we put our stores, our shops, health center, or whatever it is, until we grow larger and we keep going. But if we don't do it, we're going to continue being in the same place and looking why are we in such a small space. I said before I came home about a decade or two ago that these white folks was going to realize that them having gated communities, they was locking themselves into smaller space. And they was going to start turning the lock around. And that's what they done. and it's headed towards citizens in the United States who they consider we're gonna have to have green cards to leave our house just to go to work, just to go to the store and come back. Okay.
Yeah.
But if we own our own land, we walk down the store to the street or to the shop or whatever when we want to. Until we do that, like the young man I sent you the tape about the young man that bought the 200 acres in Ghana. We have to think like that even here. Before we go abroad, we could do that same thing he's doing right here.
Yeah.
Like I said, they got acres for $200. Okay, the most expensive thing on that land, if we off grid, is going to be either digging wells, because we can go solar, off grid, and that way we don't have to deal with the government for electricity, because once they see we have a big compound, they're gonna raise the price up on us. So we have to be efficient amongst ourselves, and we have young brothers and sisters that's efficient mentally with these skills. They've been working for the electricity companies and all of that. Pull them in, get some of that knowledge, research, YouTube, all these other apps. They have everything we need for research, to how to build something, how to put something together, locate somebody, pull somebody in, have interviews or what have you. And this is what we must do. Like 3 decades ago, this is what we must do. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. I think 2 decades ago, at least, this should have been in place.
That's
But because we hear it now, we can't change the past. We can only learn from it and move forward. Live for the present, prepare for the future. And all I'm saying is, let's go. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'll pass the mic back to you, sis.
Yes. Thank you, Brother Shabbat. That is excellent. I see Princess, you have your hand up, so we'll go to Princess.
Yes, there is a group that's already doing this. A couple groups, actually. They're like 3 hours away in Berry Creek, and they're looking for more Black people to get land with them. So they've been buying land, and like if no one can afford it by themselves, they all split it up and divvy up the land in that way. So I'm like, I can add their information in here, but it's through like Repair Nations. Some of the Repair Nation, there's Oksana up there. There's a ton of different Black businesses up there, and I'm trying to get up there, but I said, I'm not working right now. So my goal for the year is to hopefully get up there and get some land with them. But it's so beautiful. And there's already a creek. There's one running fresh water there. So yeah, we just really have to start building. And I love mud houses. I've been studying mud houses and how to build natural homes. So I'm like, I want to build a mud house.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are doing that. So there are people doing it, not just talking about it.
Yeah.
Where's that at, Princess?
It's 3 hours away in Berry Creek. They're actually going to be having a, I'm going to send y'all the link right now. I'm going to go on their Instagram, because they're going to take people up there in a couple weeks, I believe, to see it.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, send us that. We want to, Repair Nation was actually at our first event. So we definitely want to connect with them, and we can, they can tell us more about that. And there are so many, like the brother in Ghana, he's African-American, and that is relevant because he's coming from America. He repatriated to Africa, and he's building his house. I think they are mud bag houses. Yeah, it's a mud bag house. And that's how all of his houses are built. We watched a few of his videos. His first video, he only had like 2 houses on his 200 acres. And then in the one Brother Shabbat recently sent, he has like 50 built now. And he is inviting people from the diaspora to move back to Africa. He already has a few people who have bought into the land. And so, and there are so many communities that we've seen in Arizona, in California, in Georgia, who are purchasing land and building on that land, which is quite important. I did want to play this one video. My internet is tripping. However, when we talk about, our people and the hindrance that we have to not, buying into the American way of life, we have to think about psychology. And the white power structure has mastered psychology, and they know psychology, and they use it against us. So something of note in the Carmelo Anthony trials, Carmelo Anthony had a white lawyer who put on a case that only lasted 1 day. He didn't call Carmelo Anthony to take the stand. He didn't call any witnesses. And his closing statement was extremely short. And so it feels like Carmelo Anthony was set up because he barely had a defense. But when you look at Carmelo Anthony's parents, you're like, why did they hire this white man? And they said that they were encouraged to hire a white man specifically to defend Carmelo Anthony. And they were told that, the white man would have more information and what better, because the white man is more, because it's really racially divided, that they should hire a white man for sure. And they did that. And so that rose a question in my mind immediately, because who does that? But then you look at, the family overall, they're an upper middle class family. Carmelo Anthony is going to this school that is overwhelmingly white. And so you have Black people who buy into this American way of life. And so this video is from 1954, and it's entitled Sale to the Negro.
To the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off-brands. You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands. The secret of selling to the Negro.
Okay, so this is a full documentary. It's 21 minutes, but that's just a small clip of this documentary that's basically teaching people how to sell to the Negro here in America. And they're using psychology because they understand that because we've had so little, because we're coming from everything being stripped from us, we would desire more. And they are using that against us. And they do that to this day. And as we understand that, we understand the importance of getting land while we're here as we prepare to exit. But we have to decolonize our mind completely and the mind of our people completely from buying into this idea that anything from the white man is going to be better, and that, we want to have prestige. And if we have the prestige, it will benefit us more. We know that that's a trap, basically. So we'll open the line for more input from our family on freedom. We're talking about freedom and how we can ensure access to true freedom, which is defined as unhindered access to opportunities for the attainment and acquisition of information, education, training, and resources. Yes, Sister Francine? You're muted, Sister Francine.
Yeah, about that little clip you showed. I remember there was a documentary. Well, they were talking about destroying Black businesses, going through their business communities. So they would take their businesses out one by one and have left. And one businessman said, he told the people in his community, he said, don't go to town where they have the wealthy stores and buy furs. He said, because I made those furs. So you're buying, and I actually made them, and the store is reselling them. And I, so we don't. I guess that's what I would call it, that we could be buying from locally. We've had a lot of tailors and people like that know how to, make clothes and do things. And we had housewives and people doing stuff like that. But And that was a business for mothers working out of their home. I remember that in the 70s. There were a lot of women that did sewing. So, and then we bought into the commercial,
Yeah.
buying ready-made clothes and stuff like that when people mostly, at least half of what people wore was made, or you remade something that maybe an older sister or brother or something like that had. You remade, because I used to wear a lot of jeans from my brothers. They were perfect, and because they grew so fast, they were almost brand new. So some of them I could wear. But yeah, I bought into that myself. So what can I say? I'm guilty.
Yes. Thank you, Sis Francine. Yeah, that is another thing. They steal from our community often. And then when we have it, we don't value it as much. But when, it comes from the hands of someone else, we see it as value. There are plenty of Black-owned shoe brands, Black-owned and independent Black-owned purse brands. However, you can see that our people put more value in these top name brand companies. And they show no support for the Black community. They only extract wealth. And so we have to get out of that behavior. Okay. Any other input for our family on the line?
Yes, ma'am.
Event either like Ramadan, when traffic often builds.
Yeah, but if we wanted to mention just right there in regards to freedom, the messenger has in the what the Muslims want. He has, got some pretty relevant aspects just on freedom alone, right there, and what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe. This has always been in the back of the Muhammad Speaks or the Final Call. This would be laid out where you get the intentions that we are looking forward to when it comes to our people. The messenger always laid that before the government. If the government ever wanted to go about treating us properly or trying to redeem themselves, these were the points that the messenger had presented. These points here have always been to us to make even more sense than reparations. Reparations, of course, has this whole conversation, but just look at what he says in regards to freedom. I'll just mention a couple of points that he shows here. He said, number one, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. That's, of course, very different from the type of freedom that they're talking about. We always have to mention what they more so have been giving us is a glorified slavery. That's why that video is very interesting. There's a interview between the messenger and an interviewer that he actually felt that we made a lot of progress. However, the messenger had to bring him back to the point of our people we don't own anything. So that's just being a glorified slave. He said, what we want freedom for all held in federal prisons. We want freedom for all Black men and women now under the death sentence in innumerable prisons in the North as well as the South. We want every Black man and woman to have the freedom to accept or reject being separated from the slave master's children and establish a land of their own. And then lastly, he says, we want an immediate end to the police brutality and mob attacks against the so-called Negro throughout the United States. We believe that the federal government should intercede to see that the Black men and women tried in white courts receive justice in accord with the laws of the land, or allowed us to build a new nation for ourselves dedicated to justice, freedom, and liberty. As long as we are not allowed to establish a state or territory of our own, we demand not only equal justice under the laws of the United States, but equal employment opportunities now. So these are, of course, a couple of points that goes very well and very relevant to what it is that we are experiencing today. These points have been given out years ago, since 1930. So you have these particular points that were laid out. And of course, the government hasn't necessarily answered too much of that. But when we think about freedom, it is exactly like what Brother Shabbat had said. You know, you want to have your own land. That's what people should be looking forward to. You should be looking at what is a way that we can do this without them. That should always be the other thought in the mind. You know, of course, everyone got to wheel and deal. Everyone got to think very intelligently about their life now. You know, I do have to be able to maintain my life in the meantime, but it should still be a thought on the mind.
Yeah.
Something that is interesting to me, at least with this Carmelo Anthony case, is, you know, they're real quick to get our people to say, you know, do you forgive him? Do you forgive him? You know, the father of the one that the boy that got killed, or, you know, the guy that got killed by Carmelo, you know, he jumps out online on a racist rant. He's like calling Carmelo a watermelon felon. He's like, you know, I was disrespected first, so I should be able to, you know. And at least a lot of white media are trying to push it like he's justified to have this kind of anger, you know, for what happened to his son. However, you know, when Dylan Roof came through and killed 11 people in a church who invited him in and showed him, you know, love as he was sitting there hearing the word from them, and he just kills them in cold blood. The first thing that you ask the survivors is, do you forgive him? Then you put it up on the press. You put it up in front of the public. Hey, we need y'all to make it clear that you forgive him. But you don't do that. You're not doing that here, you know, and that just shows you the difference. That shows you the particular hold that they got on our people. They like, hey, you know, you should turn the other cheek, you know, but you don't preach that to your own people. Your own people, they pretty much are being promoted to feel justified for their anger and their frustration. And just considering everything that's happened with our people, it's just it's a little ridiculous to try and make this, you know, you know what they're going to do and what they've been doing with this case. You know, they're going to try to use this anecdotal case as, you know, we have been being attacked by Blacks so much. You know, they'll try to come up and make a lie statistic about how many young Black males are being killed off by, or young white males are being killed by Black males. And they want to use it as a reverse racism or reverse psychology argument against you when you bring up what it is that has been happening to our people all this time. So, you know, this is one of the things where, you know, our people, we just want to be careful. We don't want to fall for that trap, you know. And this is why the messenger said, you know, give us our prisoners. Now, of course, we would have to have the facilities in order to be able to get those prisoners. The thing is, prison is supposed to be rehab. It's supposed to be a rehabilitation center. That's what prison supposedly was supposed to be at first. That's never really been the case when it comes to when the brothers get out. You know, your so-called rehabilitation methods obviously is outdated, and it doesn't really look like you've used any or that you've taken any measures to make sure the rehabilitation aspect is effective. For the most part, our people know how it is. When a brother get straight out from behind the walls, and we know because we're a part in the temple, we have a program dealing with our brothers that are coming out of the what we would call the hidden university, and we know how they get sucked back into the street. You know, it's real easy. You get around the same friends, get around the same circle, go to the same club, go to the same parties, get right back in trouble, go right back in jail. And then you'll find you're now in this cyclical behavior and this cyclical thing of repetition of going in and out of jail. And then now this is part of your record, you know, and that's a design. You know, that's not something that they want to admit to. They don't, when you speak about systemic oppression, systemic racism, systemic discrimination, you know, they tend to take that and say, well, that's something that you're making up in your own head, you know? So, you know, when it comes to a real and complete freedom, this is why the messenger says separation.
Yeah.
You know, the messenger said specifically, you should be looking to be separated. You can't get along with these people in peace. You should be looking for how we can have our own land. You know, and that should be something on your mind. And when it comes to separating, it's not just physically separating from white people. You know, what that is that's separating from the way that they do their media, the way that they deal with their prisoners, the way that they govern things, the way that they've done everything. But of course, it's going to be hard for anybody that's been raised in America to be able to do that if that's all they know. It's some of our people that's out here that don't really even know, like, how Black are you? You've been raised by America. America taught you your concept of Black. They gave you your understanding of what Black is. Have you ever gotten any education outside of what they told you about Blackness? It's hard to even bring to people the realization, you know, Africa, the name Africa, that was named after a white man. That was a white man that went over there and named it Africa. What was the name before then? But what were you exposed to? What have you been given? And do you even know? You know, this is why and I'll end here, you know, this is why we've always been raised on, you know, you got to come into this. You got to come into this as a child, and you have to understand off top, you've been lied to. Let's just start right there. Just take everything that you have been given, elementary school, high school, college, and all that. Just you have to put a eyebrow up, and you need to put you have to hold it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You got to question everything right now, because you're always being lied to in this particular system. And of course, you know, it's going to be work to learn more about yourself, or learn more about, you know, the real true history of yourself. And of course, they're going to do their best to delegitimize the source you get it from.
Right.
You know, but I mean, if they tell you all the time in history class, they say those who win the war, they get the pen of history. So that means that person gets to tell the story. The enemy gets to tell the story. The cowboys get to tell the story about the Indians because of what happened between the cowboys and the Indians. And so now the cowboys can say that the Indians were savages, you know, and really teach you all throughout school that that's what it was. And hey, we were just civilizing them, you know, and they just couldn't take to it. They couldn't take to the civilization, you know, and then they were giving us issues. That's how it's going to be presented when it comes to Black folks.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you know, we saved y'all. Y'all was over there in Africa. Y'all was running around with bones and stuff all in your nose. That's all y'all had. Y'all didn't have no civilization. So, you know, you learn from them. That's what you're going to think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think y'all might have seen Soulja Boy. It was so sad. Soulja Boy is like, I appreciate the fact that we was brought over here in America, because, you know, if it wasn't for them, we would still be over there savages or something like that. You know,
He said we wouldn't have all these chains.
Yeah, wouldn't have all these chains. And it just, you know, ignorant. But just imagine, you know, all the influence he have. And it's not really too much to rag on him. I think that he might have took that back a little bit, you know, as he's gotten older. And, you know, however, that's what, if I go to my elementary school right now and I'm in front of those children, and they don't know all the Black history that I know, you know what I mean? That's what they think, you know? And that's like entrenched in the education. It don't matter how much you talk about Martin Luther King, Ruby Bridges, Rosa Parks, that is not changing how they feel inside about Black people. The idea, the whole understanding of who you are is very much poisoned, and it's deep. And children very young, at the age of 4 and 5, is already being affected. So
Yeah.
you have to get separated. But that's one of the things that stands out for us when it comes to freedom.
Yes.
Joe.
Good teaching, Sujali. Yes, that's good teaching. I think another something else that stands out is the ability to not only teach our own children, but understand how our community specifically has internalized this anti-Blackness, because anti-Blackness doesn't only affect people who are not Black, it seriously affects our community as well. So the self-hatred from all of these generations of internalized anti-Blackness that we have been reared in. And we know that for most of our community, you don't know what you don't know. So of course, because you don't have access to these things, America is like a bubble. We're occupied in this country. Everything is very designed to affect us in certain ways. And so they don't teach you the truth about Africa. They don't teach you the truth about the world outside of America. And even what you know about America is very curated. But for example, Soulja Boy, if you're raised up in the world, like someone said, you wouldn't know that what you're saying is complete ignorance. And so then you have to get access, but then you have to be willing to listen. So they've destroyed the ear to Blackness completely. So you think that white is right and Black is whack. And so when a Black person comes to tell you information, we scrutinize, we question, and we overanalyze anything coming from a Black source. And we just jump at the opportunity to not only accept what comes from the white man, but praise it and hold it up like this is a diamond jewel. Look what this white man said. And that goes from small levels to more deeper, more intricate areas of thinking. We praise the white man and the white man's theology, their science, their research, when they are researching for their benefit, they're scientists for their benefit, and that's been proven. And so we have to truly have the freedom to have access to the truth. But I wanted to show you guys this because we're talking about building a community. And in building a community, we can own land, but we know that even if we're owning land here in the United States of America, we are still subject to the laws of the land. And we know that they have ways, if they desire. We know we have God, so we don't have to worry about certain things. But we're taught not to jump in front of a freight train. We have to understand the law. They have laws such as eminent domain, which they have used in the past to force Black people out of their homes, out of their communities, and to basically take control of land that a Black family may own. But when the government says, hey, we need that for X, Y, or Z reason, they can force you off your land. And so I think we spoke about these before. They're economic zones. And there's an economic zone in Honduras. It's a controversial economic zone, of course, because it is being run by billionaires in an impoverished third world country. And they have their own laws. They govern their own land. And these are some experiments that are popping up all over the world. There is one that recently just popped up in Africa. Let me get the name of it, because we always raise a questionable eye when they start doing things on the motherland, because they don't do anything with the good intentions. So the Tanger Med Free Zone, that has just been established in the Suez Canal in Africa. And so they have their own laws, they govern themselves, and it's an experiment of self-governing cities or self-governing zones. And so this one is called Prosper. It's one of the more popular ones. And it is, the structure of it is interesting. So let's look at this, and then we could talk about the effect of that. I don't know why my computer is acting. Okay. Okay.
As he's found the answer to stopping illegal immigration into the U.S.
He's hoping his new project in Honduras will help attract capital and encourage development, discouraging economic emigration.
This is Prospera, and its founder says it's the world's most ambitious experiment in self-governance. Located on the island of Roatan, the community has become a magnet for Silicon billionaires, libertarians, and entrepreneurs. It's called a prosperity zone, where private corporations run services instead of the local government. Incentives like tax breaks will hopefully bring businesses back. Proponents say the project is a poverty relief initiative. Eric Brimman came up with the idea in 2014. He even pitched it to Donald Trump in 2016, alongside other conservative thinkers. In their view, the U.S. was headed toward economic collapse.
And he wanted to prevent the mass migration crisis we've seen in Venezuela from happening in Honduras.
But in the village of Crawfish Rock nearby, the locals are angry. The population of Roatan has grown fivefold over the last 20 years. They need more roads, a bigger highway, and a better police station. And because of legal protections, Prospera residents will pay none of these taxes themselves. So the locals are fighting back. President Castro opposes Prospera, and her administration has moved to overturn the law that has allowed this arrangement with foreign companies. Prospera and Honduras are now locked in a legal battle. They say they're trying to enable development that will help the people by creating jobs and supercharge the economy. But the locals worry that the New Age city will continue to grow and develop on their land, taking away their homes and causing environmental damage. Several similar projects across the world are looking to Prospera. They want to know what went wrong and how to avoid the same problem. This guy says he's found the answer.
All right, so they have a way of framing these economic zones by saying that it's going to help poverty, but there's already issues with Prospera and how it's affecting people in small villages close to Prospera. For example, in Prospera, the water has been rerouted to this economic zone, and so the small villages don't have water, which is problematic because the water is being used by the billionaires. And so there are some other issues with Prospera, but we do see in chat and subscribe put that there are all white towns in Africa, which is also alarming. But it's really interesting that our African family allows this, but we know that it's bigger than just allowing. We know that these powers, they have garnered so much power globally that they can just do whatever they want, basically, wherever they go. And they use their power specifically. So that's why we have to unify so that we can take our power back. But yes, they have all white towns in Africa. So let's see. This is a short video on what that looks like.
Hidden deep in the northern controversial town like no other, a place that has no black residents, where only white Afrikaners call home, and it has been in existence since 1991, even after the feared apartheid regime that segregated black South Africans.
Orania is a whites-only town. Black people cannot live or work here. Every job is reserved for the whites.
Do I believe that places like Orania should exist? No. Do I believe that Orania is racist? Of course.
The white Afrikaners only community of Orania got their own currency, their own flag, their own government, and make their own policies.
Right here in Orania, we have our own private security company. And of course, we have our own airstrip here in Orania.
In Orania, we're building a city, so we have our own construction company.
Have you ever sold property to anyone who is not African speaking?
No.
If I have money, how much you sell? If I have money, you're saying I can't buy because I am not African.
It seems the long-term goal is to cut off from South Africa to build a white-only country.
Let me ask you, if you had your way to make Orania its own country, would you contribute to that?
Yes, I think it would be nice.
Above all, I am here to investigate what drives a community to build life completely separate from the country around them, and if these people are truly practicing racial segregation in South Africa.
Okay, so that is just so interesting, not only because of the horrors of apartheid in South Africa specifically, but the horrors that white people have done in Africa and all over the world, wherever they go. They have their own sector of the world. However, they stretch themselves to force themselves where we are, and then they begin to take over the land. So they oppress in the apartheid state of South Africa, oppress Black South African people who are native to that land, and it allowed for white South African people to prosper. And now they have their own town, that they will be willing to make their own country. And we know that if they're able to do that, then that is to the detriment of the Black people of that community. And so even though we support separating from them, when we separate, we don't try to oppress their community and ensure that they suffer when we are not horrifically racist to them. But we know that it's not the same when they do the same thing. When they separate, when they create their own country, they're gonna rape the South Africa of its resources, oppress Black South Africans as they do currently to this day, and this will be to the detriment of Black South African people. And so we have to be mindful of that when we allow them in our spaces, but specifically when they force themselves into our spaces and then strive to carve out their own little area. It's not to the benefit of our community. So I see Answer Demise with his hand up. So we'll go to Answer Demise.
Jalu.
To Jalu.
It's it's an ambivalent situation because good, but I'm always glad when white people want to go just in places where it's just white people. The problem for me would be the question I would have would be, is all the water there? Is all the all the food there? Is all the air there? And so you got that space where y'all are, right? What do we need from that area? See what I'm saying? Obviously, we can't need anything. So in reality, as so-called Africans on the African continent that's over there in that country with them, they would have to make money abroad. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That would be the point in the position that they would be placed in. They would have to make money abroad. There's no way that you couldn't sell me a nail from nothing out of there. I wouldn't buy a crumb from nothing that they sell. Anything that's owned by anybody in there as an African in that country, I wouldn't buy that after. I wouldn't care. They couldn't even pay me to buy their stuff. If we gave you $10 to buy, I wouldn't buy the stuff. I'd take the $10 and go about my way. Why? Because as you see, they like, oh, we closing ourselves. As the brother said, they was closing themselves in these gated communities. It's one thing about living in a gated community. Gated community is where people go to their homes. A gated community is where people go inside, like they got their playgrounds and certain stuff in there. But 5 out of 10 gated communities don't have all the resources to survive inside of there without coming outside of there. The people that live in those gated communities go to work right here with us. That white dude right there, that one I work with, he live in a gated community. So he come out here with us, he get his money, and then he run to go hide back in there where he think he's safe to lay his head. That's fine, whatever. Okay, that's great. But if you in a gated community and you can't get anything outside of it, and everything that you're gonna do is inside of there, that would be the equivalence of living in a submarine that didn't have fresh air. Eventually, you would die from breathing in your own poison. Because the fact that where would you get money from? You don't want Black people to live around here. You don't want Black people to benefit from nothing you have. So what do you sell? Well, we sell hammers. Well, I sure won't be using your hammer. I go back to the old, get a rock and tie it to a stick before I buy a hammer from you. So you won't be making no money off of us. And that has to be, forget about boycott. Boycott is when you don't like somebody do it, so that you take a period of time and you be like, we're not going to buy that product from them. No, get boycott. It's no cot at all. It's no way you telling me you living in an all-white community for all white people and all that, and then come out here and sell me nothing. We not buying nothing from you. So yeah, I can't even see how you surviving around that many Black people.
Right.
And all you can deal with is the white people. They must got everything. After a while, you'd have to have some other country airdropping you food and water, because you would be cut off from using the roads where the Black people own outside of that compound.
Yep.
I'm just saying, you know. Oh, and the last thing before we go, something that was said when brother was talking about the prisons, and he was saying that they not rehabbing. Isn't it awful funny that they don't have, and they really have never had, after a certain period of time, a rehab program for our brothers inside of there? Yet they'll say that if we teaching them Islam, if we teaching them Christianity, if we teaching them God and changing them, because God will change them in there. They can go in there being niggas and stupid and going off and being dumb with the gone crazy. But when they get a little bit of that God in them, and they get a little bit of that God message, and they get deeper into that Bible, and they start being a real true Christian, and they get deeper into that Quran, and they start being a real true Muslim, that change them. That rehabs them.
Yep.
But they push that as, oh, well, you know, that's a gang. That's a problem. That's against what? No, it's not against nothing. If it's changing them to be better men and better women, and making sure that when they come out here that they want to do better and want to be productive citizens, then there's no way that shouldn't be a program that's given and pushed as hard as the system could push it. They should be snatching Black Muslims off the street and forcing us to come in and teach our brothers and sisters this knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. It's insanity to think anything other than that. But, you know, I'm just saying, self could be wrong about it. And we don't want to force a mindset over them. And for our brothers and sisters who don't believe in God, then the God in you, the being in you, must tell you to be proper and to do properness. And the being in you must tell you not to be evil and do doggish and go crazy out here on self and those and others. So if it's not, then the being in you is a devil, and the being in you might not believe in God, but you sure enough know the devil's work. So it don't really matter. All right, my bad, y'all. So Jalahu.
Yes, sir. Jalahu. No, that's good teaching. That is exactly right. That's exactly right. We agree. We see in Trans the Scribe said, repeat cycle of European colonialization throughout the so-called third world, come into our countries by military might, dominate the economy in the colonized area, then hire us to work for them on our own land and act like they are doing us a favor. That is absolutely what they do. Then play. Oh, I actually have this already kind of up. I have two videos from her. The other one is more anecdotal, but we'll play my tabs. Okay, we'll play this one. Sister Ari Kana is a significant woman in Africa. She worked as the let me get her. She worked as the liaison, the diplomat, and the activist between Zimbabwe and the United States. So she was the representative for the United States in Africa and the African Union from 2016 to 2019. And she's from Zimbabwe. And she is just excellent. Let's go to her video. I'm going to share real quick in a second.
This is a wake-up call to the African leaders to take inventory of what is really happening in their countries. Do they really need the peanuts that are coming in as aid? You have your natural resources. You have everything you need to take care of your people. Why do you continue to be beggars? You take, for example, cocoa. Majority of the cocoa coming out of the world comes from West Africa, and yet it's only recently that African nations were allowed to add value to their cocoa. President Traore is standing up. He is saying the natural resources in Burkina Faso, they belong to the people of Burkina Faso. Niger is doing the same thing. Mali is doing the same thing. Every leader must look at what's happening in the Sahel nations to say, like anybody else, you must take care of your people. You see, it takes two to tango. If President Trump does not want a relationship with Africa, Africans shouldn't be begging for it. Africans must take a position and protect their turf. China wants to come and exploit Africa. They'll get away with it to the extent that Africans allow them. I think that what was done to brainwash Black people around the world, long before they even left Africa, we are still suffering from that legacy of colonization, the legacy of slavery, where the people in power, they themselves don't believe they can do it. We still have leaders who believe you can't make it unless you're working with white people. We have individuals who think only something brought in by white people is what's likely to succeed. With that kind of mentality, it is a very difficult battle. Our battle to succeed, to unite as the African continent, it is a battle of the mind.
That isn't the exact clip that I was looking for, but that was an excellent clip. Sister Arikana she's just excellent in all of her breakdowns. I'm trying to find the clip that we're looking for, where she speaks about how Europe needs Africa, how Europe is surviving from Africa and that. So Africa doesn't need them. So I'll look for that clip. Here's another one that it relates to how they use the media and how they use the fact that they are the ones in power against us. And it relates to not only what happens in Africa, but also what happens here in the United States.
5 years, we know of one particular story that had we not known about it, it would have been, oh, there we go again, the Africans. In about 25 years ago, a group of young, rich white kids were having fun in Cape Town. They found out that there was oil in Equatorial Guinea that just been discovered and they wanted it. So they set out a plan to a coup in Equatorial Guinea. So while the Guineans are busy fighting a civil war, they will be siphoning the oil. But they made one mistake. There were two planes. One was to leave South Africa, stop in Zimbabwe, pick up more ammunition on their way to hunt in Equatorial Guinea. Mugabe wondered why such young people needed such powerful ammunition to go hunt in Equatorial Guinea. In doing his research further, he found out that this was a coup in the making. He allowed them to land in Zimbabwe. They loaded their plane, and just before takeoff, they were all arrested. We know of one.
So this is significant because we know that these staged coups are happening constantly in Africa. They happen in the Sahel states, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. They're happening all over Africa. And historically, they happen wherever we begin to rise up and someone fights for our community to do for self, we see these types of things happening. But I think the video, I'm going to keep looking for the proper video. But I think on the video that she just spoke about in regards to the mentality of our people and how that mentality has been used against us and how that mentality is against our liberation, against our advancement. That goes to exactly what we're speaking about when we talk about freedom, having access, and the changing of the mentality. That's the first thing that we have to do. And that's why the first jewel is knowledge, because you have to change that mentality. You can only do that with knowledge, like we spoke about Soulja Boy not knowing. But if he has the knowledge that those jewels that he think America gave us comes from our motherland, comes from Africa. And so why would we be praising the white man for something that naturally comes from our homeland? That doesn't make any sense, but we have to give our people that knowledge because we've been distracted and separated from it for so long. And so we're going to look for the other video of Arikana. And as we land this beautiful ship, we'll open the line for more input from anyone if you have anything else to share regarding this great discussion.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. Shabbat. I would like to say, Soulja Boy is so misconfused about what's going on because we have been, history have shown us and told us we rescued them. They have never rescued us. All the way up the Moors, and then even during the Black Plague, brought Europe out of its dungeons. The one of the tapes I believe you looking for is the with the sister, because I had to have a repertoire of her work too, of her tapes, and she's deep, and they don't want her to even speak. Trump tried
Right.
to get to speak with her and she refused because he wanted to he tried to dumb her down, but she wasn't going for it because her mindset was too strong and he was against it. And that's when they was talking about that blacks was attacking South Africans, white South Africans, which was a lot. And the same thing, if like you mentioned earlier, one black could do something to a white and then they say they're justified. But small number of whites did something to billions of blacks, but we're not justified for being angry. You want to tell us that's in the past? Every moment, everything falls in the past, so it doesn't matter. You don't tell the Jews not to talk about the Holocaust. The Jews say they mention the Holocaust, so it don't be forgotten. We talk about it for the same reason and more reasons, but you say we should let it go. But you reap the rewards of your ancestors. And you want us to reap the rewards of ours, not take back what was taken from them. So no matter how we do it, but it must be now. We can't say when we do it. It doesn't matter how we do it. To a certain extent that we must do it right. We must prepare ourselves not only to take it back, but secure it. Because what's good is taking it back if we don't secure to keep it.
Right. That's right.
When you get an opportunity after the meeting, send me the link that the Princess had mentioned about that crew that's supposed to be taking people out to look at the property and stuff.
Okay.
I would like to look at that, and hopefully there's a number connected to it where I can call. But yes, this was a beautiful topic as always. But and all the inputs that everyone had, yes, I think this one may have to go past the month. We may have to bring this back up again or some kind of way, because this one opened, from what I acknowledged and observed, it opened a lot of mindset of some people's from a different aspect, unless I just didn't catch it when they mentioned it last time. But I love this one, the way it have people's thinking, or allowing them to release what's inside. Because if we don't share what we know with each other, why should the Creator give you more? It's not for us to hoard, it's for us to share.
That's right.
Help one another. So I'll end there and let you take over, sis. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Good teaching. Okay, I sent you the link that Princess put in the chat, though.
Okay.
You should be able, let's see what day it is. Yep, it says they have 10 acres in Berry Creek. And they'll be visiting on Sunday, August the 2nd.
That specific group, but there's another person up there with like 20 acres, and we got another group with like 30. It's a mix of different people. Like the land just opened up to purchase in June, so there's opportunities to buy now if anyone is ready.
Wow. All right. Yeah, that's excellent. That is excellent.
Thank you, Princess.
Thank you, Princess. We love that. We're gonna have to see if we can fly out there so that we can join, because I love that. Okay, let's see. I finally have the Arikana clip that we wanted to share. So I'm gonna share that real quick and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Show me one country that USAID was in and education improved. Show me what country where USAID was in and healthcare improved. The end result, they mean no good. They can turn around and give us an inventory and say, as long as you have been in Africa, show us your success rate. You claim you're helping governments with education and healthcare. Show us your success rate. Africa has been the provider. If you look at Europe, Europe cannot survive without Africa. One situation that people don't realize, post-World War, when the US came up with the Marshall Plan, what they don't tell you is that the contribution through exploitation of African minerals was actually the biggest funder of the European Recovery Plan, ERP, AKA the Marshall Plan. Let's be realistic here. Let's not talk about peanuts. Africa does not need the aid. What we need is for those who are exploiting Africa to stop. Africa has everything it needs. If Africa could have contributed as much as it did to the recovery of Europe post-World War II, why wasn't Africa equally developed? United Nations, it took 4 weeks to create the United Nations. Why? In order to help the recovery of Europe. The World Bank, the IMF, it took 3 weeks to create them after the Second World War in order to aid in the recovery of Europe from its own self-implosion and destruction. So no. These institutions were not created to benefit the developing world. To the contrary, they were built to steal from the developing world. Their success is based on the failures of the developing nations where they have been stealing from.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, she's just powerful. She's just powerful, and it's so true. And so that's the knowledge that we're talking about that we have to give to our people. And it's the Security Council. Most of the Security Council's initiatives are based in Africa. However, there is no African country with a permanent seat on the Security Council. So they make hundreds of initiatives every year. Most of those initiatives are based in Africa. Hey, Africa has to do X, Y, and Z, this African nation, that African nation, but no African country has a permanent seat on that council. So there is no representative for the actual people who live in those countries. And this is the same with the World Bank, the same on the UN, the same in all of these world organizations that have framed Africa as the most important continent on the planet, but insignificant. The people of that continent insignificant. They've even said there are European powerhouses, people in government who have said Africa is for everyone. They say that because all people come from Africa, Africa is not just for the Black Africans that live there, it's for the world. And we can do what we please because Africa is resources, it's for the entire world. And we have the right to go there and rape the country of those resources. And that's what they say. And so us coming together, unifying the unifiers, strengthening our community on a global scale, because the sentiment about Black people affects Black people everywhere. That is going to allow for us to not only strengthen our positions here, but aid in our people strengthening their position there in Africa, in the Caribbean, everywhere we are, because we know Black people are everywhere. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. I see answer 1 and then answer scribe to close us out. You're muted, answer.
Just real quick, we would say just how she beautifully broke that down as to how much they just rate from our community. Think of what America did with Israel. America got the nerve to say you don't have the money, you don't have the resources to, repay the slave, but you were able to help Israel to be able to establish its own country. And not only that, but you've been able to get Israel to the point where now Israel has nuclear weapons. So now Israel is a nuclear threat. You even lied and said that, hey, they weren't supposed to get it that way, but you're not doing anything about it. So, if they were to, if they really wanted to do right by the Black slave, it clearly was opportunities, but just for anyone to kind of always get out of that particular illusion. They established an entire country. This is after World War II. They damaged Germany. They bombed Germany. Germany lost in that particular war, and they participated in repairing not only some of the Ashkenazi Jews that were suffering there, but then it was able to help them to establish their own country.
Mm-hmm.
So, just shows you the ridiculous hypocrisy. But that's all we just wanted to add.
Yes, sir. Stella. Yep, next week we could talk about this Iran deal that they just made and the whole foolishness with that. Okay, but I see and subscribe is still on the line, so we'll pass the line to and subscribe.
Yes, family, all praise due to the Creator, Master Walla Stifar Muhammad, and his messenger, the glorious Most Honorable Muhammad, never forgetting the Holy Spirit, and Surreal Muhammad Select One, DLR Master J, our Buku family, and the powerful presentation of truth that we've experienced today. We love the Buku spirit, getting ready for our September event. And definitely this has been like a live 3 to 5. That's what we want to see, more participation, more input, more feedback. We love hearing our sister Ari Khan, and there's so many powerful voices here in America, inspired the powerful voices on the African continent, and so many powerful voices on the African continent that have inspired our voices here throughout history. It's going to be that shaking of hands across the globe that is part of our solution, the part of the solution of the ages. But freedom is what came to mind, of course, because that's our subject. And it made us think of the root. The root issue is free thinking, getting back to that. And of course, white folks always copy us in the understanding of free thinking. And so the same way that they took and turned around our statement woke. But when you think of the free thinkers in America, the Masonic secret society organizations who charge money for knowledge and made these secretive organizations. And of course, they're between a rock and a hard place, being part of the world domination power structure of the beast that was prophesied to be put in place. Of course, doing deception and evil and corruption and all of that, you have to be secretive about bringing truth. When you're in the empire of Dajjal, the empire of the Antichrist, you're going to have to be secretive about bringing the truth. But the Savior, the God that comes and brings you to free and clear, like the Scientologists call it, the real free thinkers. The Masons were called free thinkers. In fact, that's why they're called Freemasons. That term free is truly given only by Christ, who frees you from the grave. And we've been talking about how you're bound, not just bound physically, but you're bound mentally and spiritually. This is why Imam Issa, so-called Jesus, in the Bible said you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And so a real free thinker has to know the real Christ. The real free thinker has to know the real Messiah. The real free thinker has to have a true relationship with the real Buddha, the real Krishna's enlightened one, the real great Mahdi of the Muslims, the savior that the world and every culture has been speaking about, has always been speaking about the freedom of your mind. And this person who comes is not flying in the sky with wings, but the wings that they do have are wings of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that allow us to rise above the foolishness and deception of a world gone mad. And so that's the type of truth that we're circulating here. And we have an understanding that the promise of this Savior has indeed been fulfilled in the place that it said it would be fulfilled, which is the triple belly of the beast. There's no doubt whatsoever that the most wicked, most powerful devil nation on the planet is America. Bombed the Japanese, took the land from the Indians, enslaved the African. Although all European nations contributed to what happened to Africa, America the most. 17 million Africans transported here, stripped of our names, our culture, our language, our religion, our God, and left to be blind, deaf, and dumb, and literally bound in the country with no way to go home, but mentally and spiritually bound in the brain. And so the first place that those chains and shackles needs to be removed is in the mind. But we see that the devil's empire and the influence of the white man is not restricted to America, but it's a worldwide serpent. Our beloved messenger teaches us that the devil and the deception of the devil affect 9/10 of the planet Earth. And so everyone has white textbooks in their elementary schools. Everyone has these European history books. European science is the standard of the globe. English language is damn near the language of the planet. As answer assistant teacher said, whoever wins the war could rewrite the history, rewrite the science books, rewrite the archaeology books, rewrite the anthropology books, because they are the dominant force on the planet Earth. And so everyone is rocking by this white man's mentality. If the white man say, ice is cold and ice is cold, white ice colder than black ice, The majority of the people, 85% of the people, our beloved messenger said, are blind, deaf, and dumb, and go along with whatever is the status quo. So that goes for black, white, red, yellow, and brown. Even white people are deceived. 85% of them are deceived and don't know and really believe. And with this information explosion and the acceleration of deception, along with the opportunity to accelerate truth with this new AI era. And you see what Trump just recently did as they moved to weaponize Anthropic, and Anthropic rejected to allow their software to be used by the government. Now they've targeted Anthropic and made Anthropic shut down one of its most advanced systems, right? And so that was just a couple of days ago. However, these engines are being utilized. These white folks that colonized, remember, they've been colonized a long time. They've been colonizing the mind a long time. In 1832, we have a document that said Henry Berry in the House of Delegates in 1832, y'all. This is over 100 years ago. Damn near 200. In 1832, he said, we have as much as possible closed off any means by which light may enter the mind of the slave. When they enter the mind of a slave, they come in and set up a beachhead. When they come in and enter the mind of a slave, they put their flag up. They look for their water resources. Like Asset Demise was saying, you can cut them off. But these white folks are smart. They gonna get boat dock access. They gonna get waterway access. They gonna consider all of that before they even set up the economic zones in our country. They not stupid. And we gotta bring our A game to the battle, right? These folks been colonizing countries for a long time. They know not to close themselves off in no corner. You know what I'm saying? However, they not smarter than God. They not smarter than the great Mahdi. They not smarter than Mother Nature. And when they plan, Allah plans, and Allah is indeed the best of planners. And so we know that we're going to have to exodus. We're going to have to, if judgment is tomorrow, we got to eat today. If that great higher level of the destruction, because destruction is already on. The white man is already waging war on Africa. He's already waging war on the black man. It's been a war on the black man. It's already a war between God and the devil. The war of Armageddon is in effect. And part of that war is to keep you blind, deaf, and dumb to the fact that it's in effect. But one way that we have to know the freedom that we are looking for is not coming by somebody floating in the sky, it's coming from knowledge. And so it's going to be the knowledge that frees us, the knowledge that gives us the wings to rise above. And that knowledge cannot be a devil-influenced knowledge. And this is why Buku has been blessed to receive from the mouth of Allah's prophets, from the mouth of Allah's last and greatest messenger, who was raised in person by that Messiah, that great Mahdi, that cry. How do you know? Because he brings something new and something clear, something that this world has not seen, heard, or experienced before. He brings a knowledge that theologically unifies all of the schools of thought. And he brings a knowledge that makes this new and clear approach the most sensible approach to free our minds so that we can unify. We can't unify ignoring the systemic evils that have been planted into us eugenically in our minds. They've went down to the root of our very thinking. And so they can easily exacerbate a black man Muslim against a black Christian. They can easily exacerbate tension between the black and the Chinese, the black and the Spanish community. They can easily exacerbate tension between a Hindu and a Muslim, between a Hebrew and a Christian. They can easily do that because we have not taken advantage of the cloven tongue that the Holy Spirit brings, a cloven tongue approach that unifies the theological language into one language. And that one language is not forcing anyone into speaking only the language of the Hebrew or only the language of the Muslim, but we in the black community know that we can speak a language where everyone understands us in their own tongue. And we've seen it in the penitentiaries. We've seen it in the hidden universities. We see it here in Buku all day when we speak freedom, when we speak justice, when we speak equality, when we speak love, peace, and happiness, when we speak freedom, justice, equality, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and food, clothing, and shelter, that's a universal language. That's a universal language. And the new, free, and clear approach is to look at how Jesus spoke about the 12 jewels. Look at how Prophet Muhammad spoke about the 12 jewels. Look at how Moses spoke about the 12 jewels. And if you can't find a unified theology in that, you just as blind as the blind, deaf, and dumb man that needed to be led to water, but you can't force him to drink. And so we just wanted to say that about freedom. Maybe end on the note, the freedom is here, but will we take advantage of it? We're free. You are now free to roam about the country. You are now free to take hold to this theology, this knowledge, support this knowledge, this buku language that we're bringing. Support this. We are building a university to teach this. We need to teach this to the youth because some of the old, rusty adults are too stuck on the old way. And we know that you can teach an old God new tricks. We don't call them dogs. We call them gods. But you have to break through that resistance. And we know how to do that. We have to be born again. And so when he says you must make yourself as a child, you know, being born again requires a mother. And this is why a mothership comes. But that mothership is a unified will of organizations, a bunch of little organizations that unify on a big wheel of organizations. And that's one aspect of the wheel, because there is a literal wheel, a chariot of Israel that will fight the battles for us. But we have to unite on the spiritual chariot of Israel, which is this unified stagecoach we're talking about. We're circling the wagons by unifying our organizations, unifying our theological perspectives, unifying. And the new and clear way is to filter out all of the European foolishness, filter out all of the division that the poison of European made us put into our own theology. So you got black theology of hate, Christian against Muslim, Muslim against Christian, from the mouth of black people, but poisoned by the goat mentality, right? Poisoned by the calf mentality, poisoned by the ape and swine mentality, right? That's what causes a black Christian to attack a black Muslim, or a black Muslim to attack a black Christian. That's goat mentality. That's not natural. Prophet Muhammad and Jesus ain't against each other. And Jesus said if Moses was here, he would testify of me. He said, I come not to condemn the law, but that it should be fulfilled. The prophets are together. They profess one God, one aim, one destiny, and they brought a beautiful language of how to do it, which really is we saying the same thing. The Chinese may call it yen. The Indian may call it ruby, right? Some may call it dinero, right? Some may call it money. We have to understand it's all talking about the same thing, currency. Right. And so that's the universal language we have to learn, but we're so busy. I don't want no yen, I want some ruby, you know? And of course they try to devalue your currency. And so they try to make you think Elijah Muhammad teachings don't mean nothing. Marcus Garvey teachings don't mean nothing. Oh man, Dr. Henry Clark, that don't mean nothing. Ivan Van Sertima, that don't mean nothing. Dr. Ben, oh, that ain't nothing. Sheikh Anta Diop, oh, that ain't nothing, man. You know? So come to Buku University, support Buku University, and support new and clear, nuclear, new and clear learning. That's what we push here. Sijalahu.
Yes, sir. Sijalahu. Yes, good teaching. Good teaching. That is an excellent closing for our beautiful discussion. We've talked about a lot today, and we want to continue. We do have a few more weeks we have 2 more weeks of this freedom discussion, and we want to continue talking about freeing up the mind, freeing up that access, allowing our people the access, the time unhindered to receive these resources that we have. Prayerfully, we can show them the framework of that in person, September 5th. We will keep everyone aware of when that event is and how it's going to go. You know, it's going to be a great day, but also we have so many opportunities to come together and support one another. And that's what we want to do. We have to support one another at all times. And there's so much happening in our community, and we've seen these beautiful things. However, just like we're talking about not having access, so many people don't know that what you need, like Africa has everything that it needs. We have so many people, organizations, activists in our community that are doing great work, and our people would never know unless they seek it out. So we want to be that beacon of light for our community members, our children, our youth, our elders, to know, hey, you know, Princess has the S&E Cares program. Bring your children over here. You know, bring your young girls, bring your young women. These young women need to know how to sew. Brother Shabbat has the agricultural program. You need to know how to plant some food. Sister Francine has a craniosacral program. You need to understand the importance of Black maternal health, because we are also being attacked on that front as well. And so we have everything that we need, and we have to support one another. And so we are going to be back again next Tuesday. Tomorrow, we usually have our grant meeting, but we do have another meeting set for positive directions. That's the transition house that is opening up very, very soon. So we're going to reschedule our grant meeting to Thursday. Princess, I'm going to make sure you get that. During the grant meeting, we just come together, we look for grants together, and we at least begin filling out the applications together so that we can pretty much help one another with these applications, support one another. If we have to be references for one another or listed on each other's grants, we want to do that all together and, you know, really help each other, because we got to get this funding, and we, you know, can list each other down. Hey, I work with Buku and we've done X, Y, and Z, and, you know, we can list each other in that way. So that's going to be on Thursday at 2 p.m. And I see Princess with your hand up. Yes, Princess?
Can you send me the link to the Thursday video meetings?
Yes.
And then also, full disclosure, all of our programming is intergenerational. We don't discriminate. I don't think that the kids can go home if the families aren't going to reinforce it. So we want to teach the families too.
Listen.
So with that being said, we have a sewing cohort. It's 5 weeks coming up, and somebody dropped, so we need one more person. If you know anyone that wants to learn how to sew, it's free. It's 5 weeks. At the end of it, you get to take home the sewing machine. But we're focusing on 30 and up. So if you know any groups that might be interested, it is open to men, women, whoever you are able to join. So let me know, because we need one more person. It's in person.
It's in person.
Yeah.
I would sign up, but I'm in Arizona. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be there. Okay, I'm gonna look for someone. Let's see. My sister will be 30 in December, so maybe she
can join. No, we have someone that's like 26, but yeah, she can join. Please.
Okay, so I have a sister. She's in Berkeley. I'm gonna try to get her to join. No, she don't be listening. And I have another sister who might be interested. It's 4 of us, but yes. So yeah, definitely gonna look and see. And then I'm gonna try to see what we can do July 12th. If I can make it out there, I would love to come to the event that you guys have. But I'll keep you updated on that. All right, family. So we are so thankful for everyone joining us today. We're here every Tuesday. I know Tuesday, 3 p.m. is a strange time of the day. And people are working and people are busy, but whenever you have time available, please join us here, update us on what you're doing, tell us about what's happening in the community and how we can support one another. We want to share resources here. We want to share tips here. We want to mentor people. And we know that we've had a lot of people on this line before, but we want to add more people, get more perspectives on these topics that we are discussing, and really just show that we actually can unify. Buku has currently a Christian member. We have a whole Muslim family. We have Hebrew Israelite. We have nationalists. We are the embodiment of what we say we represent. And we want to show people that we can actually unify. I have seen specifically on social media people saying that it is impossible. They said it's impossible to unify the diaspora. They're making these claims. It's impossible to unify the diaspora. It will not happen. It's impossible. And we shut that down here. We don't do diaspora wars. We don't do race wars. We identify our enemy because that is important, but we don't do any of that those divisive tactics that are used to keep us fighting one another. So please join us, invite more people here. We'll see everyone on Thursday and then again next week. And so we're going to land this beautiful ship and remain open in the name of the one true God. We know him by many names. We thank him for coming to us throughout time and sending us his prophets. We thank him for Moses and the Torah, for Jesus in the Gospel, for Prophet Muhammad in the Holy Quran. We thank him for the liberators that prepared the way for his coming to us, like Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey, and countless other liberators who prioritize our community. We can never thank him enough for coming in the person of Master Wallace D. Fard Muhammad, raising and sending us his messenger, the glorious, most honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're raising of their national representatives, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and their return in and through their royal robe and remote control unit, and Surah Muhammad, the Select One, the Allah Master J-Man. We are thankful for this program of Buku, for all of our amazing members, and everything that you all are doing for our community and bring to the table is so important, and we are appreciative to share space together. And we will see everyone next week. And so with that, we'll say Sajadalahu, Assalamu alaikum, peace, black love, black unity, Ashe. I see Princess in the sun. Everyone go try to get some of that sun for that beautiful melanin, and we'll see you next week.
Assalamu alaikum, Buku
Wa
family.
alaikum salam.
Peace. All of the above.
Peace, all of the above. Yes.
Buku. Ashe.
Ashe.
Recording